Hey YouTube, thought I'd make this video really quick for those of you looking to remove people or objects from the background of photographs. The only thing that you need to be able to do this is Photoshop, and if you have Photoshop, you can do this simple trick to be able to remove any stray objects from the background of your photos. So let's jump right in. So here we are inside of Lightroom. You don't need Lightroom to do this. Like I said, you can just load a photo straight into Photoshop, but Lightroom allows you to edit a photo, make your adjustments, send it to Photoshop, make adjustments there, save it, and it'll open it back up right in your editing timeline in your catalog in Lightroom. So just as an example, here's a photo that I have edited. You can see my tweaks over here. Here's the before and the after. So it's ready to go. I would also recommend that that's how you should organize your workflow, make all of your edits, and then go into Photoshop to remove things from the background. So if we look, there's obviously some people here in the background that we want to remove and get rid of. So I'm going to go down into my thumbnails. I'm going to right click the photo and I'm going to select edit in Adobe Photoshop. Once inside of Photoshop, my best practice is to take my original layer, duplicate it, keep this locked, and I'll take the eye off of it so that we can see our adjustments a little bit better. So after we've duplicated the layer, I'm going to select this layer. I'm going to punch in here a little bit, and the easiest thing to remove in Photoshop is an object that is not touching any other important part of the photo around it. As you learn the capabilities of Photoshop and what this removes and how it removes it, as you're shooting, you can keep that in the back of your mind, not as a I'll fix it in post mentality, but kind of, because this is super easy to do and Photoshop does a great job of this, and it requires no effort usually whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is, usually your pointer tool is selected, so I'm going to hit L on my keyboard or select the little lasso over here for your lasso tool. And I'm gonna just go around this person right here, just kind of like a general outline, connect it back. And now after I have this area selected and it looks good, and my current layer is selected over here, all I have to do is hit Shift and Delete, set this to content aware, hit OK, and Photoshop takes care of it. I'm gonna hit Command D and deselect that area, and you can see if we throw our eye back on our original layer here, you can see the before and after, and you can see how good of a job Photoshop does with something like this. So now this is going to be a little bit more tricky to remove this person, as he or she is right up against Noah and the outline of his face. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna get my lasso tool back again, and I'm just gonna go right on the outline of Noah's face. Obviously, if it's for a client, definitely take your time with it, and I'm just kind of doing this quick for the sake of this example. So I come around here, I'm gonna go up and connect back, and now we have this as our selection right here. And so now what I can do is, with this selected, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna grab my healing brush tool, and I'm gonna set my mode to replace. And what this brush allows me to do is select an area of the photo and then paint it onto another area of the photo where I want it. And our selection here makes it so that I can paint right up to the edge inside of this selection without worrying about spilling over or getting my brush right exactly up to Noah's face. So if I hold Option or Alt, I'm gonna paint from top to bottom down here. So I'm gonna select something that's kind of in the same height. So you can see if you hold Option or Alt, your brush changes into a little crosshair. I'm just gonna left click right there and select that as my point. And now this point, wherever I start painting, is going to paint from that area that I selected. So I can come right in here, and as I start painting, you can see that it looks like I'm actually painting behind Noah, and that's because our selection is only allowing us to paint within it. And I can come all the way down here to the edge and kind of paint back up through here and I'll go out, back in, and you can see the crosshair on the left side there, that is what Photoshop is grabbing to then translate to this new area of the photo. And now I've repainted all of that and it already looks decent, but as soon as we take this selection away, you can kind of see the hard edges around there and need to do a little bit of cleanup. So for that, I'm actually going to go to my spot healing brush tool, and I'm going to set the type up here in the top to content aware, and the mode is going to be replace. So content aware is exactly like we did when we just selected and deleted. That setting was content aware. This is the same thing, just with a brush form. So I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger to get broader strokes and to make the transition look a little bit more natural. And I can just paint right around the edge of this, and the content aware just takes it right out. And you can kind of play with this. It can be a lot of trial and error sometimes, but you can play with this, take all of the hard edges out. And now if we zoom out, you can see that it already looks way better compared to our original with those two people in the background. We've basically done it already. And now what I would do is I would just come in here, select my spot healing brush tool, and do a proximity match and set this to multiply. And what that will do is allow this effect to be done a little bit lighter in a way. So I'm more so blending rather than actually replacing parts of the image. And it's kind of some trial and error. You can kind of just paint right here, and sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. So hit Command Z, try it again, and maybe we'll try content aware and come in here, and that looks a little bit better. We grabbed some pink from his tongue a little bit, but maybe like right there looks a little bit better. And if we go right here, that does a little bit of a better job right around his nose. But then when we zoom out, we can see that it looks like there was no one there in the first place. Obviously, I would try to dial this in a little bit further if it's for a client, and if it's for a couple, you know, I try to get this edge here looking as natural as I possibly can. If you are operating with Lightroom, this next part doesn't really apply to you, but if I'm working in Lightroom in conjunction with it, and let's say I have 20 more of these photos that I need to edit, or there's other things that I need to take out of different photos, my workflow is obviously one at a time, send them to Photoshop like I showed you at the beginning. But then what we can do is, after we've made our adjustments, we can right click over here and select flatten image. That brings it back to just one layer. And when I hit Command S to save it, and you can see in the bottom left here that we're saving, as that saves, it creates a duplicate in Photoshop. And I did this a time before and my camera wasn't recording, so this says 3 for me now. But you can see that this is the new photo. There's no one in the background over here, and this is the original. So what you can then do is, my workflow is to rate this higher, so I would rate that a 5-star, and this is still at a 3-star, and then I can filter through all of my edited photos and leave the unedited ones out of the photos that I want as finals to export. You can make more adjustments here if you want to, but like I said, I would do that ahead of time. And then after that, you're off to the races. You can do that with as many photos as you want. Just right click on them, edit in Photoshop, and then flatten it, save it after you're done in Photoshop, and it'll come back into Lightroom. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Let me know how you're using it in the comments. Let me know if you need help with anything else. Like I said, it can kind of change how you shoot when you are out shooting, knowing that you can safely and easily remove things from the background. You might still take shots that you didn't think you could get. I actually did that with this. I knew that I could take those people out, so I still took the shot, and it turned out to be a great photo still. So have some fun with it. Let me know if you're having any troubles with it. I would love to answer your questions and your comments about this specifically, or any other photo, video aspects that you may have questions about, let me know and I would love to make a video about it. But I'll see you in the next one.